we've been on a bit of a Walking Dead theme, so today we are going to continue this trend by ranking every single major character in this tier list that you see here on the screen. Now, I am going to base this kind of based off of if they were interesting or not as a character, but also how useful were they to us, the main protagonist. It's not necessarily going to be how the writing was. The writing is a factor, but it's more how interesting were they to us, and were they trying to sell the bag constantly? Were they constantly trying to screw us over? And if they were villains, I'm going to base it off of how much of a threat that they actually were to the overall group for the survival. Now, I'm not going to get into too many nitty-gritty, super deep details in this because there's a lot of characters for us to go through. There's a lot for us to actually sort out here. So, without wasting any more of your time, we're going to get right into this tier list. Starting off with Vernon. Vernon is a little two-faced, backstabbing bum. As soon as we leave the boat, he comes and just snags it from us. Tries to take Clementine off our hands. Uses us as a way to get into Crawford. This guy's a scumbag. He's going to go in D tier. Walter, he didn't really do much in his time around. He wasn't super useful. He gave up too much information, too much food to Bonnie. He was too nice. But I'll give him C tier because he was still a nice guy at the end of the day. AJ, this guy's Lee Everett, bro. This guy, because we can mold him. We molded AJ into what we wanted him to become. So I think that him being Lee Everett tier serves us very nicely. Ava was okay. She wasn't really the most interesting character in the world, but she was very loyal, and she knew where her, who her allies were. I'll put her in B tier. She wasn't bad. Eleanor, this girl is similar to Vernon, very backstabbing. She comes across as very like, oh, I'm such a nice girl, but in reality, she's just a bum. She just sells us out to Joan after I'm pretty sure we told her that Joan was literally raiding other communities. Actually, no, you're going in E tier. You're worse than Vernon, bro. Max, we knew that Max wasn't someone who was on our team from the jump, so it wasn't really too shocking when he turned out to be kind of a jerk, I guess you could say. But he was okay, but he wasn't the most interesting. But for a short time, he was a fly in our ointment, so I'll give him C tier. Omid was funny. He was okay. But in his time around, he just didn't do anything. He spent most of the time with an injured leg and got killed at the beginning of Season 2, Episode 1. I guess I'll put him in C as well. I don't know. C's kind of like the middle ground. Sam, oh gosh. I don't even know. I'll put him in D just because he's a dog. I don't want to put him in E tier. He was just a scared, hungry dog. Badger was just annoying. He was always trying so hard to seem tough. Right? Like, he's trying to put on this bravado face constantly. Like, get out of here, bro. E tier. Ben, E tier. I don't even need to explain myself. Brenda St. John, I mean, you know what? She did have some pretty good survival skills. I understand that cannibalism is not okay. But in the context of a zombie apocalypse for survival, I can kind of respect it low-key. I kind of respect her guts and her ballsiness. I'm going to have to put her in D tier just because she wasn't around to make much of an impact. Bree, this girl tried to get us killed. This girl, there's just nothing really to her. She's just a cancer patient. That's all she is. E, you're nothing to me, bro. Brody. Brody was a very, very panicky person. She was always very much in fear, it seemed, because she had those ties with, the group that took Sophie and Minnie. There wasn't really much to her. She did try to expose the truth, but I guess she'll get D tier for at least trying to do the right thing in some regard, I guess. Abel, I think this guy's name is. This guy was annoying to deal with, but he wasn't a bad character. He was written okay. This guy was tough. He could definitely take some good punishment. Survived a lot. This guy was pretty tough. I'll give him that. I'll give him C tier. Clem, do I even need to explain myself? Do I need to explain this? Lee, again, do I really need to explain that? I don't think so. What's this girl's name? Is this Minnie? Minerva? She was just brainwashed. She had, I believe what's called Stockholm Syndrome, where you start to take sides with your kidnappers. And it was kind of interesting to see, but she wasn't really interesting in any way. I'll put her in D. Oh, the dog. I forget the dog's name, but this dog was cool, bro. This dog could bite the heads off walkers. You're going in A tier. You're cool. You're a cool dog. Krista was just annoying. She was very nosy, always trying to insert herself into people's business, but she was very tough. She was very much no nonsense. I can kind of respect that. We never found out what happened to Krista, and that's one of the things that still bugs me to this very day. It actually drives me insane. C tier. Chuck wasn't a bad guy. He didn't have bad intentions, but he was someone who went behind our back to go tell Clem that she was gonna die. I'm not even joking. Like, it was just actual insanity that he went back and did that. He wasn't around for very long, but I'll put him C tier. He wasn't bad. He just wasn't around for very long. Any of these 400 days DLC guys, I just don't care about, to be honest with you. Doug? Well, I didn't pick Doug in my playthrough, but I have done that before in the past. There's not really much to him. He's just a bland old nerd. You get D for Doug. Marlon is actually one of the most underrated, quote-unquote, villains. He wasn't really a villain, but he kind of was by giving up his own group members, but it was also to protect his own group, so he wasn't really a villain, but he kind of had that villain thing going on, and he was just a scared kid trying to protect a bunch of kids. That was really all it came down to. He wasn't a bad guy, but I did kind of like what he had to offer. I'm going to put him in B tier, because he was actually pretty interesting. Duck, get out of here. Like, shut up, Duck. Becca from the 400 Days DLC. I really like this girl, actually, because she understood what it took to survive during these tough times out here in the zombie apocalypse. Even though we didn't see her much, I did like the things that she would say. I did like the things that she would stand for. So even though she was only around for a short time, she's getting C tier. David. I actually really like David's character, to be honest, because David is someone who he knows who he is, right? He wants to change and be a better person, but he knows at the end of the day, he loves being a soldier. That is what he was born and bred to be, was a soldier, and I can honestly respect it. I respect that he tries to change. I'm going to put him in S tier, actually. I really like David's character. I think he's someone who's really well developed and really very interesting to me. Gabe, this guy, he's a teenager, right? You know how teenagers are. They think that they know everything. So he's trying too hard to be tough all the time, trying to be a know-it-all. Whatever, you're useless. You're going E tier. Javi, you're Lee Everett tier, but you're like here. You're like here in the Lee Everett tier. Kate was just straight up annoying. Just constantly hitting on Javi, constantly trying to get with us. Gets very, very upset when we don't want to get with her. And just, she just didn't seem like to be the best wife in the world. I know that David wasn't perfect either, but Kate acts like she was like some sort of saint. You're annoying. You try too hard. D tier. Trip. I actually really like Trip. He was kind of meant to be the Kenny of Season 3, it seemed like. But just a little bit more nice. A little bit more soft. And I like Trip. He was he's a big, powerful dude. Super nice. Maybe a bit too nice, but not necessarily. It's just that his feelings tend to get in the way. And during the zombie apocalypse, that's not very good. But I'll put him in A tier, because I actually like Trip. Glenn didn't really do much besides get lured in by someone who was bit, kind of. He kind of lured himself in, but in the games, I'm going to put him in D tier. If it was the TV show, he'd be getting up here for sure. Alvin was nice, and he just got literally smacked around by Beck, basically. I'll put him in C tier just because he was a nice guy. Carlos was a horrible dad. A horrible parent for the zombie apocalypse. Didn't know how to toughen up his own kid. It was a quote-unquote doctor who couldn't tell the difference between a bug bite, or a dog bite, and a walker bite. Yeah, you're D. Carver. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but Carver's actually my favorite villain in the Walking Dead franchise. That at least I could think of off the top of my head. Because he's very smart. He very much knows what to do in the zombie apocalypse. He knows what it takes to survive. He comes across as crazy, but I actually don't think he's crazy. I think what he does is very, very justified. You know, when you're talking to her in a meeting, you get a smack. When you kill one of his members, he kills one of yours back. I really like Carver. He was only around for a short amount of time, but he's getting S tier. I really liked him. Reggie was just useless, bro. He just drank too much of the Kool-Aid. He was just constantly trying to impress Bill and trying to impress Troy. Like, no, this guy was a bum, bro. You're going E tier. You were useless. Russell was okay. He's a bit too nice for the zombie apocalypse, but he wasn't bad. He wasn't very interesting either. Troy is like the prime example of trying too hard to be tough, literally all the time. There was like never a point where he would like let his guard down and just be a normal person. He was always trying so hard to be this big tough guy. Hey, shut up before I smack you. Like, nah, bro, get out of here. Vincent was okay. There wasn't really much to him. He killed somebody and he was going to jail. That was pretty much it. Jane, I actually despise Jane. When she first kind of came into the fold, I I understood, like, her angle. She was kind of meant to be, like, the next Molly in a way. But she's just a lot less interesting, a lot more selfish, a lot less caring as a person in general, and even puts AJ in danger just to try to prove a point that Kenny would go crazy. Nah, she's going D tier because she has basic survival skills. Jesus was a good man, had very, very good morals. He was okay. I'm gonna put him in B tier because he wasn't bad, and he did help clean up Richmond at the end of the game. So I'll give him B tier. This guy, don't care about him at all. Like, not even a single little bit. Lily, I don't understand the choice to bring Lily back in season 4. Like, I understand that they probably wanted a face that they recognized, but I just don't think she was the best choice to bring back personally. But with that being said, she was a very, very strong leader. She was a very, very strong character. She knew how to survive in the zombie apocalypse very, very well. I'm going to put her in C, because I didn't like her very much, but she was a very good survivor. Dr. Lingard, this guy's a crybaby, bro. All he did was cry that he wants to die. That's it. E. Carly, man, Carly is very, very smart. She's very good with a gun. The only reason why she died is because someone shot her when she wasn't looking. Lily literally killed her when she wasn't looking. Carly was a very good character. She's going to go in B tier. Katja, there wasn't really much to Katja, unfortunately. She was kind of just a mom. That was it. That was literally it. That she kills herself because Duck died. Like, you're going to go in C tier just because you were nice, I guess. Mariana, sweet little girl, nice girl, seems to have her head on straight. Doesn't know too much about the zombie apocalypse, but very sweet little girl. Put her in C tier. Mark was okay, but he was low-key kind of psychic, but other than that, like, he got shot, and he was just hungry the whole time. He was very mid. He just kind of seemed like a plot device. D tier. Mitch. This guy was a bit of a bat, low-key. Like, he kind of was just a bit, not unhinged, but he was just constantly just going off the rails. He seemed like he was just angry all the time. Like, he always just seemed to have a problem. But he seemed to be pretty good at making bombs, and he made a stupid decision that got himself killed. But he wasn't a bad character. Wasn't great. I'll put him in C tier. Oh, man, this is one of the things. I wish that it was Molly who came back in Season 4 instead of Lily. Even though she wouldn't have fit that big group profile, she's more of a loner type. I still wish that she would have came back in Season 4. She was such a good character, bro. The only reason why I had to put her only in S tier is just because she was only around for one episode. But she was elite, bro. She was a good member to have had in the group. Unfortunately, she just didn't stick around for very long. Nate, from the 400 Days DLC, this guy is creepy, bro. All he cared about was intimacy. And just wanted to hurt people and stuff, I guess. Like, you're going in D tier. Arvo, E tier. Screw that guy. Nobody likes him anyway. Bonnie was a backstabbing loser, bro. Like, literally just tried to get with Leland in the 400 Days DLC. She backstabbed us at the lodge. She got angry with us in the Season 2 finale because we didn't try to save Luke. Like, the best chance for Luke to survive that situation was for nobody to put any more body weight on the ice. You're going in E tier, bro. Luke, I have mixed feelings on Luke because I know he was meant to be like the next Lee for Clementine in a way. But he started off so well, and then he kind of just went downhill slowly over time. But he wasn't bad, wasn't elite. I wish I could put him here. But he just slowly went downhill. He was constantly going at Kenny. B tier. Mike, this guy was just an Arvo meat rider. He was another one of those people who was constantly going against the group. And by the group, I mean Kenny. Just to protect some Russian kid who had hurt us, essentially. I'll put him in D tier just because he was a nice guy and everything, but that's all I can really give him. Nick was just straight up useless. Like, the entire season, he tries to get us killed, and then he gets mad at us when we try to save his life because Pete was already bit. He was just useless, didn't do anything. He killed Matthew for no good reason. Yeah, you're done for. Pete, I actually really like Pete. Even though he was only around for a short amount of time, the time that he had there was very, very influential. He was very, very good. A very smart man. You know, he was a good guy. He knew what it took to survive, but he was still a nice guy. You're going to get A tier from me, Pete. Rebecca was so up and down. Like, as soon as she found out that we knew her secret, she just became all fake nice with us. D. Sarah, do I even need to explain? Worst character of the franchise, by far. Sarita was okay, but there just wasn't really much to her, unfortunately. Only around for an episode. But, or I guess a little bit, an episode and a half. But she wasn't awful, but she wasn't good. I'll put her in D tier, but there just wasn't really much to her. Yeah, this one's Andy, right? Andy St. John. This guy was the better of the two St. John brothers, in my opinion, because he knew how to mask what they were doing on the farm. He knew how to mask that feeling, or not the feeling, the knowing that they are cannibals. He knew how to hide that very, very well. And he was very, very... It seemed like he was very manipulative, but you know what? He was only around for one episode, but I'll give him C tier. I actually think, like, as a villain, he's actually pretty decent. Danny St. John. This guy was just a straight-up creep. That's all he was a creep, and he just killed people who... Like, he killed the girl in the woods because she was about to reveal a secret. You're the worst brother of the two. D tier. Larry, screw Larry, bro. Don't care about him. Maybell, I think that's her name, the cow, right? Shell from the 400 Days DLC. She's okay. I don't know, she's a bit too nice. Not really much to her, but she's nice, so I'll give her D. I forget what this guy's name is. It a Sim? I don't know. A lot of these Season 4 characters just didn't do much, unfortunately. Like, it sucks. I'm going to put him in D tier because he wasn't completely useless. He helped set up traps. That's about it. James. James is, like, low-key, like, that kind of guy who tries to get with a girl and is like, oh, I'm such a nice guy. I'm not like other guys. That is James in a nutshell right here. But he wasn't a bad character. He had good morals and principles, but goes crazy as soon as things didn't go his way. But as a character, I'll put him in C tier. He wasn't awful. Wasn't awful at all. He was just like that nice guy. Lewis. I really liked Lewis, actually. He was really, really funny. I know some people probably find him a bit annoying. He talks a lot. Probably talks a bit too much. But I think he was actually a very interesting character. I'm going to put him in B tier. He was really, really funny in my book. This guy, the cook, just for being a cook and helping us out, feeding us, I'll give you C tier straight up for feeding Clem and AJ. That's good enough for me. Ruby? Ruby was a bit of a, like, you know... She was a bit hard at times. She was a bit of a pain to deal with. But, like, I think she wasn't a bad person. Just not much to her. Like, none of these Season 4 characters... Or I shouldn't say none, but a lot of them I just didn't find to be very interesting, in my opinion. 10 was never going to survive in the zombie apocalypse, bro. He was not meant to be here. I don't even know how he survived this long. He was very nice, but he was too idealistic. He lives in too much of an ideal world, for my personal taste. Violet is someone who Max Caulfield should have been, right? She's a girl who's very, very closed off at the very beginning, but slowly starts to open up more as the season goes on. I wanted to see something like that from someone like Max Caulfield, in which unfortunately we just never saw. But from Violet, we do slowly start to see that side to her, and she can actually turn on you and be manipulated by Minnie's tactics. I think that's a really cool feature of the game. I'll put her in B tier. I liked her. This stupid little kid, I actually don't even remember his name. This guy is garbage, bro. He was sent here for things I can't say on YouTube, because I'll probably get demonetized. This kid was useless, bro. Lonnie, I mean, I don't, there wasn't, he was backstabbing, or he wasn't backstabbing, but he was part of the rage for the other communities for Season 3. He was somewhat capable, so I'll put him in D. What's his name? Clint? No, this guy was just a bum, bro. He literally just rode Jones' meat the entire time. I'll put him in D tier. Yeah. Conrad just made the biggest weird 180 move, pointing the gun at Clem at the end of episode 2. Like, it was such a weird thing for him to do. Outside of that, I mean, he could have died in every single episode. Actually, that's a cool little feature. I guess he's kind of realistic for somebody who's going through his troubles, but nah, D tier. Like, this is like bottom of the pack stuff. Joan as a villain is actually extremely interesting. She's really good at manipulating the groups, or manipulating Richmond, I guess you could say, in the New Frontier, into doing what she wants, and I think that's, you know, okay. I think that she was a decent villain, but the problem is with this sort of villainry is that when people see stuff like this, you would think that they would all band up against her, but because of the way that Season 3 was written, she was able to come out on top regardless, so I'm going to put her in C tier. She wasn't awful. She wasn't awful at all. She was a decent villain, but only due to basically very biased storytelling. Kenny, I'm putting this guy in Lee Everett tier, bro. I freaking love Kenny. I love Kenny. Kenny was a lead. Even in Season 1, like, he's very realistic to what you would expect someone to be. Someone who's like, oh, I can do this if I have to. But when the times actually get tough and you have to put down your own kid, you have to make me do it for you. But outside of that, I liked him. Eddie, he actually comes back in season 3 very briefly, which we ended up killing him as Clem. This guy was just a bum. Nah. And Wyatt was just a pothead. D tier. So, guys, I'll go over through this very, very briefly. There you go. That is my Walking Dead characters tier list. It might seem kind of harsh. A lot of people went in D tier and E tier. That's because so many of these people were either useless or trying too hard to be tough, or I just straight up didn't like them or care for them in any way, shape, or form. So let me know how you guys would have ranked these characters. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!